everyone. Happy Wednesday. Is it Wednesday?
It is officially Wednesday,
Somewhere.
according to the reminder that I just checked for the first time today. So we're gonna hope it's correct and it's not yesterday's reminder.
Yeah, well, we can always go to Australia and just skip a day.
I like that. Let's do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm Claire Jones. I'm a queer fantasy romance author as well as a small publisher that supports other writers in getting their works shared with the world. And we are jumping on for my Marketing as Authors podcast, where I interview the amazing and inspiring authors in my network to discuss the marketing strategies that have hopefully propelled our careers forward in meaningful ways. So if you're joining us, please like, comment, share below. Let us know that you're here. And today I'm talking to Andy. I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome doing the podcast. I mean the panel with you at Worldcon. Let's hope we can bring that same energy to this one.
Yeah, yeah. With panels, I always feel like they should be 2 hours instead of 1 hour, especially if I'm very passionate about the subject.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Although sometimes an hour, some panels or presentations are really just like
Yeah,
quick. You get through them, you do a question and answer, and you like an hour feels good.
yeah,
But then some of them, like especially if you're talking marketing or writing or anything a bit more complex, I mean, 2 hours is nowhere near enough. That's the problem with these things. You could just go for hours. The
absolutely.
downside of being a passionate author, marketer person, I suppose.
Yeah. And I feel with the topic of publishing, it's so complex and nuanced too, that
Oh
I'm
yeah.
always amazed that they reduce these panels to how to get started in publishing. And I'm like, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And like, I see people glaze over when we start getting into the specifics, and I'm like, okay.
So that's when I do like panels and presentations at conventions. I pitch a very specific angle of it
Yeah.
so that people know, okay, this is what I'm going to learn here. I'm not going to learn all the publishing wealth of knowledge. I'm just going to learn this one small thing, but
Yeah.
kind of that takeaway is enough to bring them one step closer to what they need to do. But that's
Yeah.
the hope, at least.
Yeah, I often find that self-publishing in particular is kind of minimized by event organizers as a simple concept.
Oh boy.
They're like, it's just one angle of publishing. We can just discuss that. And I'm like, there are so many things that we can get into with it.
Yep.
We could have an entire convention just on self-publishing alone.
And there are conventions around self-publishing. There is Author Nation in Nevada every year. There's the Toronto Indie Authors Conference in Toronto, as the name suggests. So there are places for people to find out, self-publishing wisdoms from people who have made it succeed.
Yeah, yeah. And thank goodness there are.
Yep.
Well, I know we could do an entirely different podcast about that, but today we are specifically talking about marketing.
All
Hello,
right.
specification.
I like that. Specificity really, really does make a difference.
So, first, let's introduce the good Andy here. Give us a rundown of your books. What are they? How many? What's coming forward?
So we're going to call it 45 because it's a nice clean number and I don't have to recount till I hit 50. So 45 books in sci-fi and fantasy, mostly fantasy, one sci-fi series. I have been a full-time author since 2018. I have also been an Instagrammer. I accepted that I'm a book influencer about 3 months ago. So
Ah,
now this is who I am. And as of last week, I'm the director of publicity for an indie publishing company. So I wear too many hats.
hmm. Yeah, I know the feeling. I've
So
recently
my
started to accept my influencer dumb as well.
Yeah, I realize that I love it because I don't actually have to do anything influential. I can just say, "Yo, here's a book. I loved it," and then I can tell them they like it. And if they don't, well, it's like different tastes. But I don't actually have to know anything other than this book has words. I like these words. You may like these words too. Nice and easy, very low pressure.
Yeah, we're living the dream because we get to nerd out about books all day.
Yes.
Like,
Oh my God. I loved being at Worldcon just to be able to do that because everybody who I talked to was there for the exact same reason. They were there for books, whether to write, to sell, to market, to publish, to buy, just books, the love of books. There is something so wonderful about fellow book lovers.
Yes, I love those kinds of events. I love walking through the dealer's room and just being like, look at all these nerds. Oh,
They're other me's.
yeah, it warms the cockles of my heart. Well, what's coming in the future? Do you have anything planned? Like, what's coming down the line?
So I've got a series that will be forthcoming in the next couple of years. It's still kind of under wraps because of other pieces that need to fall into place, but I'm full steam ahead on my Darkblade series, writing book 11 of what will be
Wow.
15. So, but like I've always got different things in the works. This is the only one that's official for the time
Mm.
being.
Mm. Do your series tend to be longer series?
So I tend to do 3 to 6. I've done two series that were 6 books. Well, no, I guess that's kind of a lie because I have a 13 book sci-fi series. I guess I just when I love a character, I just want to spend more time with them. And
Oh, wow.
the one that I'm writing right now, it's a half demon assassin with a cursed dagger that drives him to kill. I mean,
Mm.
when you've got a character like that,
Yeah.
you have endless amounts of fun to play with. Like right now I'm writing kind of a Hawaiian Islands, Polynesian Islands inspired corner of the world. Like a whole book is just there on that island. It's so much
Yeah.
fun. So that's why these series tend to run long. I can't think less than a trilogy though. My brain does not work short.
So it's the same character POV in each of these series.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Well, so it's each series has a different point of view character, but it's just one.
Yeah.
Or some of them have multi POVs, but my brain prefers a single POV.
Yeah.
And so you go deep in each of their stories. So this guy's story, it is effectively my struggles as a new step parent,
Mm.
right? Kind of a Mandalorian, The Witcher kind of dynamic.
Love it.
The world's worst step parent, quite literally. And the journey of an outsider trying to find his place in a world where he doesn't belong, which considering how everyman that story is, there's endless emotional drama but also endless amounts of growth to
Mm.
mine from this story. So I think it's why it's running on so long, is because there's just more to explore in his human experience, which is so directly my human experience
Mm.
too.
I mean, that's how it always is,
Yeah.
right? We're like in every piece of character that we write.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. I honestly do a different character per book within the series, but they're like interrelated. So the
Yeah,
next protagonist is introduced in the previous book. And
the classic romance
yeah,
series
that's
progression.
that's exactly where I got it from. I was like, okay, it's not like five brothers, but
Five brothers on a farm.
yeah, there are no farms and there are no brothers in my books.
To be fair, I do love that when it's done well because you're introduced to the character and then all of a sudden, oh, it's this new person, and there's such a different story. I just find I can't do a character justice in one book. I really need to dig
Mhm.
deeper with multiple books to understand who they are and get them to the point where they're solving whatever their problem is. My hat is off to the kind of authors who can just say, "Oh, this character's journey is now complete. We
Mm,
don't have to do any more."
yeah. I mean, how good are you at writing short stories? Because I suck.
My last short story was a novella.
Yeah. It's one of my growth arcs that I'm going to get to at some point in my writing career. I'm like, all right, I'm going to tackle the short story at some point, but the time is not now.
I feel like I need to be so grounded in the character's world and in their head and their experience that all the time that it takes to do that, it just leads to a longer story. Like some of my friends, they do short stories and they can write a 2,000 word short story, and it reads really well, but it's this kind of not vague but more of a nebulous kind of experience of the world, and it I enjoy it, but I'm not drawn in, like immersed in the way that I do with a story that's a lot more, well described and detailed and paced and all that. And so I think I just don't really have the brain as a reader or as a writer to enjoy a very sparse short story.
Yeah. And I think also the fantasy and sci-fi genres are also well suited to these extended series because
Absolutely.
the setting also becomes a character within itself too.
Yeah. And the more the world, the more of the world you explore, the more there is to explore. The last short story that I released, 11,500 words. It was set in this sort of Indian subcontinent inspired corner of the world that I've mentioned in passing in my other series, but I've never been there. So I was like, let's go and explore this. And it's so much fun that now I want to go write a series there.
Yeah.
That was always the plan anyways. But just being able to play in these corners of the world. But again, it takes that time to say, okay, here's what the people are like, here's what the religion is like, here's what the culture is like, the way they dress, the way they eat. You have to take the time to do it, and that's why short stories turn into novellas and novels and 15-book series.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's out of our
Exactly.
control.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you decide how to break up the series? Like when do you decide that like this character is complete?
Typically there's an arc that I plan out before I get into the story, so I kind of understand where the character is going and what the end goal is for maybe the plot at large. And then if the plot expands in response to the character's growth, then I add
Mhm.
another book or two or three or 10 as needed.
Mm.
But typically there is a starting point, and that starting point kind of dictates the ending point
Hmm.
to a certain extent.
Hmm. And have you always written like that? Like when did writing become like a thing for you?
So I really only started writing in 2013. Like I tinkered
Oh.
around as a teenager and as a young adult, but it was 2013, something that I had written as like a graphic novel script at the age of
Mhm.
19 or something. A publisher was like, "Oh, this is really good. I want to do something with it." So I thought to myself, well, what if I tried now that it's been a few more years and I've had, 5 years of raising kids? What
Mhm.
more have I learned in these years? So I sat
Mhm.
down to write a story, and I just kind of fell in love with breaking people emotionally. That's what it came down to. This was right around the time that I had kind of watched 300. And then
Mm.
I had read the Malazan Book of the Fallen, and there's this one scene in that series that is just devastating. I was broken by it, and I was like, I want more of this. So that's what I set out to write, and I wrote sort of a 13,000 word 4-part comic book that was basically, it was called The Last March of the 13th Rifles, where this company of riflemen like D&D dwarven riflemen are marching to their death. It's very clear from the beginning they're all going to die, hence the name. And I had so much fun building up to each brutal death, or making
Mhm.
sure that you cared about the character so that when I killed them off, it
Mhm.
hurt. And
Mhm.
I fell in love with that. And it's why my series all tend to go pretty dark, is because I find that I need to feel as the author and as a reader too. I want to feel. If a book can make me feel happy, sad, excited, horrified, whatever the case is, it's a good book. So
Yeah.
that's what I want to do as an author, is make people feel.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the creative's job, honestly, is to evoke emotion, manifest emotion, curate emotion,
Yeah.
any of those different phrases that you want to use. Like even visual art does that.
Yes.
Statuary, everything does that in some shape or form.
So true.
Yeah. And you're kind of, I don't know. I don't know if I want to use the word torturing yourself in the process, but it's also a way to process your own emotional journey.
Oh,
And I
absolutely.
think that we are honored as writers to help others process their emotional journeys.
Yeah. Or through our processing of our own, we kind of create this safe space for people to understand the journey that they're going through. And maybe our journey is so much like theirs. So in 2013, I was diagnosed on the autism spectrum,
Hmm.
and I started incorporating that into my stories. It drove a lot of the stories that I write, neurodivergence, mental health conditions, things like that. And talking with readers in my newsletter, in my social media, I came to see that so many people also have some kind of neurodivergence, and it was very eye opening, because it made me realize that I was so much less alone than I thought. And so my stories have always been about reaching out to the people who are like me and saying, hey, in this way, we're exactly alike. And if I can do that, even if it's not like because I don't think I delve into any deep truths of the universe, right? I'm
Oh,
not going to be
sure.
writing anything that changes the world, but I will definitely give somebody a character who they can latch onto and kind of explore the facets of themselves through it, whether it's heroism, whether it's being a better parent, whether it's resilience, whatever the theme of the story is, they're going to come out the other side kind of having gone through that experience themselves in a way.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think your past skills and experiences supported the writing career once you got here, or was like a whole new set of skills that you had to learn?
I mean, so I have no background in writing of any sort. I have a high school diploma, and that is as much academic as I've ever gotten academic. So I don't think I have sort of the intellectual background. I do have um, a background of traveling, of seeing different
Mm,
parts of the world. So I think in that sense, kind of a global mindset or of understanding how we exist
mm,
within our culture, but then our culture also exists in companionship to these other cultures, and then there's these other
yeah,
totally different ones, and
yeah,
kind of this global mindset I think informs a lot of the stories. But it was definitely a massive learning curve just to figure out how to write, but then also how to look within myself and find, okay, here is an honest piece of my humanity that I can share. I think that was probably the thing. I mean, I'm still working hard to do it because it's every new story has a new challenge.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, I would hope that you are happy with what you've achieved so far, but I'm not
Oh,
gonna presume
absolutely.
for
I
you.
I love the fact that people still say, "Oh my God, I loved this character that I had totally forgotten about in the sci-fi series I wrote 4 years ago," or they love this young adult character that I just kind of came up with out of nowhere and then became so important.
Mm,
Just connecting with people through the stories that I've written, independent of the success and the fact that I can support myself as an author. Like obviously, that's lovely. That is the big happy. But then I think the one that really makes a difference is when I get a message from a reader saying, "Oh my God, you broke me with this scene," or "Oh my God, I love this character so much because of this piece of humanity." Like that's, I think, the real reward as an author.
yeah, yeah. Is that connection to people what drives your marketing strategies?
I think originally it did unconsciously, but now it is very consciously in the sense of if I can connect with you on some level, then you're more likely to connect back with me.
Yeah.
And that connection makes me as a reader, as a writer, as someone on the autism spectrum, as a husband, a father, all these different pieces of myself, I feel less alone. And
Hmm.
so I am overall happier if I can bring that sense of happiness through my marketing, through my platform to other people. That's, I think, what's going to make them come back for me as opposed to this character or this series.
Yeah, yeah. So take us back to the beginning. Like, how did you first launch your writing career? Was that, I mean, did you choose self-publishing right out of the gate? Did you try TradPub?
So I self-published one book because I wanted to just experience it, and I had a really good time with that one book. It got great reviews. I saw very quickly where my skills were and where they needed to be improved.
Mm.
And then I wrote the story that is now my sort of my flagship series, and I wanted to shop it around, excuse me, to publishers. And I got picked up by a small press, and they did such a great job of packaging the book. They did, I mean, I had the cover designed because I had a very specific cover in mind, but they did great editing work. They did good formatting. Like the book was very, very professional looking. But like so many small presses, especially in the early days of the internet, there was no real marketing because people were just kind of figuring all that out as they went. So I launched the series. It got some, great reviews. It won awards. It got some sales here and there, but ultimately it didn't really go anywhere. So I quickly realized that if I was going to actually succeed, I was going to have to learn the marketing stuff, advertising, marketing, all that goes into it. And I couldn't really afford to do that with a series that I was getting, a fraction of the
Mm,
percentage of royalties on.
mm,
So I got the rights back and I relaunched the two series myself. And that was 2018 and it took off. And that was kind of what set my
mm,
current author career in motion.
mm. So what did you teach yourself in the marketing space for that?
I taught myself everything. I taught myself everything from Facebook and Amazon ads to Facebook group marketing, Facebook author pages. Never really strayed onto Twitter because
Mm,
I'm not quite so witty in
mm.
160 characters. You might not have noticed this, but I like to talk, and I think my writing kind of has that same verbosity. So I just can't do 160 characters
Yeah.
properly. So Twitter and Blue Sky, they've never been my thing. At the beginning, that was kind of the focus. Reddit, I've built more of a platform on Reddit recently. Instagram has been more recent, but in the beginning, Facebook and Amazon were really the things.
Mm. How did you use Facebook back then? Was it more business profile focused, personal profile focused?
I had a personal profile that I kind of started using to market, and I realized the people who are in my, like my personal circle, they're not the readers. So I started building a a Facebook page, and when I started running ads, after a while, a surprisingly long while, I realized people were commenting on my ads
Mm,
and people were following my page from those ads. And that changed my marketing strategy because then I created ads that would build engagement.
mm,
And then I would use that engagement to invite people to follow my page. And then my following grew till I think right now I'm at around 11,000 or
mm,
so on Facebook. And it's all been because I run ads and then I invite the people who like the posts to follow. And it's just been kind of a steady thing.
mm,
I have a reader group that unfortunately I've been too busy to kind of keep up on. I'm the admin, or I actually was. I helped to found and grow the biggest indie fantasy group on Facebook, and just kind of always being in that space, it came naturally to me because I could write a big wall of text and add an
mm,
image, and there we go, nice and
mm,
easy.
mm-hmm. So how big was that series that you relaunched?
Originally, it was 7, and I had written 4 books when I relaunched it. Like I had published 3, and the fourth one was ready to go, but I
Mhm.
didn't
Okay.
release it because I got the rights back. And so I had 4 books that I could basically release back to back. I think it was
Yeah.
like 1 week between 1 and 2, 2 weeks between 2 and 3, 3 weeks between 3 and 4, and then a month each or month or two for the remainder of the series. So
Yeah.
that kind of shot the series up into the stratosphere. And after that, I kind of just kept putting out books at a pretty steady rate.
Yeah. So rapid release is pretty much just like your MO.
It used to be my MO until 2021. I changed that because with the Darkblade series, the books are 200,000 plus words. The longest is 400,000. I cannot write that in a month like I can, a
Yeah.
100,000 word novel. So I kind of had to change up my strategy that I'm going to slow down the release schedule, but maintain sort of the performance and the sales so that, like right now, my last book launched, I think, in May, and I'm not going to have the next one ready to launch probably until April. But
Mhm.
because I've slowed down my release schedule, readers, they're okay waiting around a bit. And I started a Patreon recently so that I could give the readers who want more that kind of content.
Yeah. So the engagement nurturing that you've been doing, was that centered around like a rapid release schedule? Like how has that changed when you've switched from rapid release to non-rapid?
So with that release schedule, it was really targeting the people who read through Kindle Unlimited and who read a lot, and the sense of like a book or two a day or 20 books a month kind of thing, because what they want is a lot all of the time. So I've always had a very digitally focused audience where they are going on Amazon and they're reading through my freshly released book in a couple of days. Now they're 200 and some thousand words, so it takes a few days. But
Yeah.
fantasy readers are often very fast because there's so much great fantasy to read. So and the books are so much longer that they kind of have to hustle a bit with it.
Hmm.
So there are people who will read a book, one of my books in a couple of days, even now that they're so much longer. So there was always kind of engagement with the audience. They're ready for more, and if it's out on Kindle Unlimited, it doesn't cost them anything extra to go and read it. So then I would have massive spikes in sales on Kindle Unlimited. Even now, a significant chunk of my income does come from Kindle Unlimited. I am transitioning to do more direct sales of physical copies, but it's just something you have to slowly grow into, and Amazon is still kind of my bread and butter.
Yeah. So it's almost like a marriage of your writing preferences
Yeah,
and your audience preferences.
exactly.
So when was it that you made that connection? Was that always there from the beginning?
No, it was in 2018 or it was 2017 when I realized that I needed to learn the advertising and marketing, and I was watching other authors successfully release their books at
Mm.
that rapid release schedule, and I realized I have all this stuff in the hopper ready to go. All I needed was covers, which I got 6 to 8 months before the new release date, so that I could have everything that would go, and it made it a lot easier just to release everything at once. And I kept that up for about 3 years. Stopped being as powerful as when I was doing it, to where now if you rapid release, it doesn't necessarily push as much as it used to.
When did that change?
I think changed maybe in 2021 or 22. Still do it, probably to great success, but I think right now Amazon's algorithm is changed to where it puts a lot more weight on book that can keep selling for 30 to 9 as opposed to that first 15 days like it used to be.
Mm. I mean, do you have any insight on why they made that change?
New things to obviously maximize their profit. So
Yeah.
if they saw that they could make more money off of it this way, or if they thought that doing it a different way, like changing the way that books are recommended to their audience, would improve the chance of actually getting people to buy it, that's probably why they did it.
Mm. Yeah, because I wonder if it has to do with like inventory management too. I don't think that that would qualify as much with KU and ebooks, but at least with printed physical books. Like they bought 100 copies of this book and they have to make sure that those 100 copies keep selling versus, continually rotating out their inventory.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with print on demand, which is what most um, Amazon authors use, it's not as much a concern because Amazon doesn't really have a huge stock in reserve. Maybe they'll have a few just in case, but I don't think they do it kind of in the scale that like a print publisher has to produce thousands of books, and they got to make sure those books sell for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I've been seeing that a lot with book talk authors in
Yeah.
particular because they have such viral spikes that happen,
Hmm.
come and go so quickly
Yeah.
that especially traditional publishers have a huge problem keeping up with that variable demands that is a result of that.
Yeah. Very likely.
Yeah. Well, you've mentioned Facebook ads, you've mentioned Amazon ads. Do you get into Instagram ads at all?
Recently, I have been. So when I was really, really focused on ads, I didn't. I just used sort of the book covers and some basic stock imagery, and that worked well enough. I didn't really get into Instagram ads until the last year or so when I had sort of a massive amount of content to choose from, or I could
Mhm.
easily make content because I've been doing it pretty much full time for 2 years. So like
Mhm.
I've posted 2 to 3 videos and posts a day for basically 2 years. So
Wow.
I've gotten to the point where if you're like I'll ask someone who, I work with for the marketing. I'm like, hey, do you have an idea of a video you think would look really, really good or would, convert well? And she'll be like, oh, try this. And so I'll go and I'll make that video, edit it down, send it off to her, maybe take me half an hour to an hour, depending on the complexity of the video, or I will try new videos. And if they perform well in terms of organic views and reach, then I'll use it as an ad, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So you do focus both on content and ads.
Yes, content is 100% organic. I am never going to be that author whose entire platform is about his books. On the contrary, if I can go an entire week without having to promote my books at all, I'm happy because it's so much easier to be excited to bring this kind of energy to some other book that I really, really love. It feels less genuine if I'm like, oh my God, guys, you're going to love this book that I wrote. Obviously, I think that, but who's actually going to believe it? So it's a little bit more suspicious. Whereas if I'm like, oh my God, I just picked up this book, you're going to love it, totally unrelated to me, people are actually going to resonate with that energy, and it will, I will build trust with them until the day comes that I say, okay, today I'm going to talk about my books. It just so happens to be like these 3 books that I absolutely adored, and you did too. Maybe give them a try. That kind of trust-based marketing, which is exactly what influencer marketing or the content marketing really is. It's slow burn,
Yeah.
but it builds that kind of relationship that once people actually make the jump to your stuff and they like what you do, they're there for you because they've been watching you every day, every other day for weeks, months, years.
Yeah. 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 And that's that engagement piece that you were touching on
Yep.
before with the Facebook page. You are engaging them as people, not
Yep.
customers.
Yep. 100%. People who post, like, oh my God, I just posted, about my book to my fans. I've got 100,000 fans and nobody bought it. I'm like, I actually did a video and I was like, the way when people have that energy, it's like they treat their followers as
Absolutely.
an asset,
Yeah.
and it's almost like they're owed something because you're a follower. And I really strongly dislike people with that kind of energy, and I just don't follow them.
Yeah.
The people who I follow are the ones who are genuine, who love what they're talking about. So anybody who has that energy, all right, you got me. And if you tell me about your book, well, I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah. 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 I mean, there are countless stories about influencers launching a product or a service to their
Mm-hmm.
millions of followers and
Yeah.
failing spectacularly.
Yep.
And it's not a numbers game at the end of the day. It's an
No.
engagement game at
Yeah.
the end of the day.
And it's a trust game in the sense of if I have built enough trust through what I've talked about that you're willing to put money on the line for something that I'm recommending to you, then I've done my job. If you don't trust me enough, it's not on you, it's me. I didn't build enough trust. And so with that, with book reviews, my whole thing is like, I'm only going to give you book reviews, books that I know I can stand behind and say, you're going to like this for some reason. I don't review books that I don't like. I don't put down books that I don't like. I just never talk about them. So having this kind of thing of for 2 years now saying, here's a book you're going to love. And I'm excited enough to talk about it because I really did love it. A lot of people are going to be like, oh, I didn't love it, but I get to talk with them about that. What didn't work for you? And then I'm like, oh, okay, you didn't like this piece, but you did like this piece. Try this other book that I read that kind of had that. And you just kind of connect with the people where they're at. I always make sure to focus on tell me about you as a reader or as a writer or whoever they are that I'm relating to, because people want to feel seen. So you make them feel seen, they're connected to you. It sounds very mercenary to say you build connections and you leverage those connections to make sales. It's the truth, it's the reality. But as long as you do it with the best of intentions, I want to give people amazing books that benefit their life. I hope some of them are mine. If none of them are mine, I'm happy to know that they have had an awesome life because of the books that I recommended to it. Going into any connection with that energy, I think is going to make people trust you so much more than how can I be the very cleverest marketer and subtly work people around to pitch my stuff. Like nobody is subtle when it comes to marketing. Nobody is subtle. We can see it coming a mile away when it's like, oh, you like this? I wonder if some author has written something like that. No, no, transparent as shit.
Yeah, yeah. And like the whole using ads for engagement tools is so counter to what we've been led to believe is capital M marketing.
Yeah,
And I think that comes from this like top down, trickle down, you know, concept theory from corporations not valuing their customers as people,
yeah.
right? And so I think so many people have been brainwashed into thinking like they have to be that way too in order to succeed at capital M marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And
And go ahead.
that's just not how it works.
No, no, no. And there's so many people who are so focused on the bottom line in the sense of making sure the money that they spend pays off kind of dollar for dollar.
Yes.
I am certain that the money that I've spent on advertisements over the past 7 years now, a lot of it has gone to waste because I can't track when I spend money on Facebook, there's no way to track the conversion on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
But the way that I see it is if I spend money on Facebook and I am reaching 100 people, even if it costs me, but I can engage with them in the comments, if I can get them to like my page, if I can get them to follow me and read more of my reviews and recommendations and turn them into a genuine fan, that is worth a lot of money. So instead of sort of boiling it down to dollar per dollar, just thinking I'm actually spending a little bit of money or I'm investing time on marketing to connect with people who will eventually come to trust me and like me, then I think people have that it's a much broader long game mindset than I need to make every single dollar that I spend count right now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a scarcity mindset at the end of the day, and we get stuck in that in our capitalist society. But yeah, that's why I've always been a fan of the relationship-based marketing strategies more so. And I do have to admit, when I come across like ad-focused authors too, I'm a bit skeptical getting into conversations with them because they too do tend to lean more towards the number per number type of ROI framework.
I will make sure that every dollar that I spend on advertising is worth it. But if I'm going to advertise, it's a different strategy than if I'm going to market. I will do content that I will make, I'll make videos where I'm blatantly marketing, right? I made this one video about how, oh, I just added media mail pricing to my web store and now I can get rid of, the pigeons, the homing pigeons that I was using to send
Huh?
my books because there was too much pigeon shit in my backyard.
Huh?
That is so blatantly marketing, but again, it's funny. People are laughing. They're having a good time. And so I've had videos go varying degrees of viral. Some of them were directly marketing, some of them were not at all, but because people like if it's about entertainment, if you find a way to make it funny, probably one of the best authors who I've seen do this, especially on Instagram, is Elizabeth Wheatley.
Mm,
She writes Dangerous Assassin, and she has this whole presence on Instagram. She has her book goblin sketches. She has,
yes.
informational content. She has so much. And then she also uses that to talk about her books, which is what we have to do. But I've been so entertained by everything else that when she talks about her books, I'm like, sure, tell me about this book because you've entertained me. And I think that kind of relationship, people are accustomed to that now. Instead of it being like, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book over and over again, it's like, let's give you some entertainment, let's give you something to hang on to. And then when I say, hey, give my book a try, they're far more willing to take the risk.
Because I think that pushy, salesy type of approach too, that numbers focus approach, also radically leads towards burnout more
Oh,
than
yeah.
the long-term sustainable relationship focused
Oh,
method.
100%. If I was only talking about my books twice a day, I would never have, posted twice a day on Instagram for 2 years. I would have dropped that a year and 8 months ago because I would have gotten so sick of it.
Yeah.
But because I really only have to figure out clever ways to market myself once or twice a week, I can have fun the rest of the time. I can do ridiculous things, or I can be excited about anything else. And then I can actually bring that kind of genuine energy to the marketing game.
Yeah. 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 I see so many indie authors fall into that trap, and it
Yep.
is honestly so sad. Like I feel for them so hard because they may see initial success, usually in their debut, and it's usually a single debut, and so they haven't put much thought into this whole like rapid releasing thing if that's what they're going after,
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't start with their goal in mind and they didn't plan a strategy for that specific goal. Because making lots of money off of publishing your books is not an overnight success kind of strategy.
Or if it happens, you are the unicorn.
Absolutely.
You
I
can never
will.
count on being the unicorn.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then, they're working towards their second book because they got so excited about the launch. And then they burn out because they're
Yeah.
so focused on the whole marketing, selling thing. And then it turns into a sob story
Yeah.
of like, oh, my dreams are dying, all of the like, and then that completely skews their tone in their content.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
Yeah. Anytime you start leaning into the pity marketing, you're really doing it wrong. It may work once or twice, but you can't build a platform off of pity marketing.
The only time that I've seen pity marketing do well is the ASPCA and St. Jude's.
But that's a very specific kind of thing. And authors, they just can't drum up enough pity to actually have it succeed, and especially not long term. You can get one pity video going viral. You could make $100,000 off a viral video, but that's it. That 100,000 is going to run out, and if you have no more marketing plan beyond I went viral with one pity video, you're just as screwed, just $100,000 later than you were.
Yeah, yeah. And how are you going to plan to engage those eyeballs that you get
Yeah.
from viral content? I think virality is honestly very dangerous because it is unsustainable and
Mm-hmm.
it creates unrealistic
Yeah.
expectations because they don't have a strategy for transforming virality into
Yeah.
something that is actually meaningful.
But you can't even do that really. You can't transform virality unless you're very, very lucky or you are very, very smart. Virality by its nature is unpredictable. So I've seen a few of these authors who go viral with videos. One who I've loved watching is TD Orell. He
Hmm.
is a fantasy author, and he cracked this sketch of the voice in Brandon Sanderson's head when he wrote The Way of Kings. And
Hmm.
it is hilarious. And he's done it with so many other books, and they've all done so well. He has found a way to take the virality and actually turn it into a marketing tool, and very cleverly. But it wasn't done by accident. It was this thing went viral. He tested, he tried, and he figured out how to make it work. But it wasn't like he figured, oh, this is how I'm going to sell my books. This was like, oh, okay, now I have to do this. Another author, I think Chris Rowland or Roland, I don't know how you pronounce his name. He's a book content creator on TikTok who went viral doing like a working out like I'm the Throne of Glass character training
Hmm.
to go be an assassin. And
Hmm.
he went viral, but now in a way he's kind of shoehorned into that kind of content because his audience is like, give us more of this. And so if you want to keep your audience, you have to play into that viral content. And so you're kind of shoehorned. And if you get lucky, so I got lucky with the one video that's gone most viral for me is 10 beginner level fantasy books in 60
Hmm.
seconds or less.
Hmm.
I'm talking fantasy. My brand is fantasy, right? So
Yeah.
that I got super lucky. I've had other videos. I had one video go viral where it was people in Argentina read books. I was shocked about that. But I got thousands of fans in Argentina, but I don't know how to market them because they can't buy my books directly. They don't really have Kindle in Argentina, so it didn't benefit me to go viral in that sense. So in some cases, virality can be a curse. I've been talking to people who are like, "Oh, we went into it trying to do this, and then we went viral, and the audience is now demanding this, so we have to do it." And it's kind of the platform has changed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's situational awareness, I think, that underlines all of what we're talking about here,
Yeah.
is being able to read the room,
Yes.
no matter what context you're doing the room reading in.
Yes. Very much so.
Yeah. And so, do you do any type of like press advertising, any other like non-digital forms of, I know you do events, but
Hmm.
is that a huge part of what you do?
It wasn't. So I lived in very small town British Columbia where there were no real events, where kind of the closest thing to me was Vancouver Fan Expo, and it was a 4.5 hour drive to come to that. So it didn't really make sense to do events. And because my books are all published through Amazon's KDP, they weren't really in bookstores. So
Yeah.
it didn't really benefit me. I did, I've done the podcasts, I've done the interviews, and people were like, "Oh, where can we find your books?" Go to Amazon. There is some conversion, but it never really has the same impact as a well crafted ad or doing things with content marketing. Now that I'm changing the way, or I'm trying new things, expanding the way that I'm reaching people and the places where my books are sold, it may be worth it down the line. But for somebody who is like very digital forward, none of those other avenues of promotion have a very high percentage of conversions, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's also just knowing your audience very well, too.
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about fantasy, you're solely high fantasy, right?
So yeah, I mean I have a subgenre, every subgenre of fantasy effectively, except for romantasy. This is not the romantasy author face. But my first one is very epic fantasy, dark epic fantasy. I have grimdark, I have military, young adult action adventure. I call it romantasy light,
Okay.
and then dragons, sort of action adventure. So I've kind
Mhm.
of got a genre for each type of fantasy reader. So it's easy to market to a broader audience. I
Mhm.
can easily hit that. It's just you figure out what people like, you find what they like, and the fact that everything is interconnected. I've written my series very Marvel comic style, where
Mhm.
everything is connected. So readers, once they're in, they've got 45 books to read through.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you had to leave our audience with one piece of advice, what would it be?
Learn before you publish. That's what it comes down to. Don't make the mistake of publishing just to get a piece of work out there. You will lose the impetus of, I'm a debut author, give me a chance. If you are smart, I have seen some authors do this and it has succeeded for them. Evan Lycom, Book Reviews Kill, did this. ZS Diamante did this. A number of authors, they did a great job of building a platform based on, hey, I'm a reader. I want to talk about books. I want to be part of the community. And then they got this whole community behind them when they said, okay, now I'm a reader. I mean, now I'm an author. Maybe support me. It led to really, really good things that they never would have had if they were just like, oh, here's my book with nothing else. So learn the ins and outs of marketing, learn the ins and outs of advertising, play around on social media, find out who you can be publicly, find out what you like to do, figure out a strategy of content that you can replicate every single day around your day job, around your writing, around all the life responsibilities, but every single day build those systems in. And when the time comes that you actually are ready to publish the book, you will be so much farther ahead than anybody who is publishing a book and then figuring it out as they go.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if you wait to market after you've launched,
You are behind the curve.
I mean, if your goal is just to have the book out there, great. If your goal is to make money, however, you're just going to launch to a room of crickets, and
Yep.
there is when that doubt and burnout and all of that other disappointment cycle
Yeah.
comes into play.
100%.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to add before we start wrapping up?
Buy my books, buy my books. No, I would, I hate that so much. I don't even like it when they're like, where can people go find your book? You search my name on, the social medias, you're gonna find me. But no, I think that's what it comes down to is just, I'm gonna say this: find out how to be part of any community where you want to be. If you're going to join the romantasy reader, if you're going to be a romantasy author, be a romantasy reader first. Find out what people love about what it is. If you're going to do fantasy, sci-fi, romance, whatever it is you're going to do, be part of the community. Find out why people are there. Find out why you're there and engage on that front, and then eventually when it comes time to publish, you will understand your target audience so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to speak their lingo. You have to
Mm-hmm.
understand like the best marketing is when you can literally read their minds.
Yeah.
If you can say the stuff that they're thinking, you're golden.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. Well, this was a lot. There's a lot that I'm gonna have to go sit on now.
I hope there was at least one nugget of value in all of that.
Oh, there was many, 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 many nuggets in there. This is powerful stuff that we're talking about because the reason why I started this podcast is everyone has a different journey when it comes to how they write, how they promote, how they reach the goals that they have for their writing. And there is no right way to do it.
Yeah.
Is it aligned for you? Is it authentic to you? Are you
Yes.
having fun? That is so undervalued
So important. So
these
important.
days. Are you
I
actually enjoying yourself?
Yeah, so I noticed this. The When I go to like a convention, there's the kind of authors who just sit behind their desk, and whether or not they want to be there, there's this kind of energy. And I'm sure you saw a lot of them at Worldcon. Any convention you go to, they're there, they're there. It's almost like I'm here because I have to be here as an author.
Yep.
And then there are the ones who are just having the best time. And I am lucky enough that at conventions, I am one of those people. Like, you walk past me with any book, we're going to talk about it,
Yeah.
and just having a good time relating to people. And people love that kind of energy. They resonate with that energy so much. So finding a way to really just enjoy being in that space, I think that's what people are going to connect to more than a great book pitch, more than a great cover, more than a great marketing angle. Just having a good time as an author, as a writer, as a reader.
Yeah, absolutely. It's enjoying the process. Like, I have to remind people, especially if they're unpublished writers, that we started this because we presumably enjoy it in some shape or form.
Yes.
And somewhere along the way, so many of them lose that because they get so inundated with the shoulds of like, you
Yes.
should be here, you should be doing this, you should be writing like this.
Yes.
And that just kills the spark at a certain point.
Yeah, 100%.
So don't should yourself to death.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't should yourself, guys.
Yep, exactly. Well, audience, we definitely encourage you to share your own thoughts, feelings, insights, and stories with us as well. We'd love to know how you've navigated this journey yourself. Are you at the beginning? Are you in the middle? Are you at the end? I don't, tell us. Where are you in this process? And
Yeah.
please do let us know if you have any questions. I know we speak about a lot of different technical terms and vocabulary in this podcast. So if you're like, hold up, I need a definition, please do let us know. We'd be happy to answer your questions. Special thanks to Andy for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. This was a blast.
Please comment, like, subscribe below. Check out Linktree/clairjoyance for my links. And then where can folks find out more about you?
Just look for my name, Google the weird Canadian name, and you'll find me.
Yes, yes. Unfortunately, there are a lot of Claire Joneses out there, so I do not
Yes.
have that advantage. If you Google Claire Jones, I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm going to show up on the first page or not.
There is one Andy Peloquin, and I believe he is a chef somewhere
Uh,
in the US. That is the only other Andy Peloquin that I've ever found.
yeah, I was telling Aaron, who was my interviewee on the previous podcast, that after we finished recording, there are two other famous Claire Joneses, specifically Claire E. Joneses.
Oh no.
One is the royal harpist for the British royal family.
Okay.
The other is a porn star.
Well, that's a fun uphill battle to
Yeah.
have.
So I'm in rarefied company.
That's spectacular. Now, if there was a royal porn star, that would be sort of the tough one to beat.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't France's president or wife a
Yeah,
porn
we never
star?
know.
Something like that. Doesn't count as royal, but close enough.
Fair enough.
Well, I'll make sure your links are easily accessible for people in the show notes. And until next time, please remember that you all have extraordinary stories to share, and we're rooting for you as you use them to change the world for the better. Take care, guys.